Blaze the doja, grab your loved ones and bring them closer. Extra, extra, read the poster, the KKP is taking over. Sleeping on me, better smell the Folgers. I've been razor sharp since the Motorola. Off of O, like the cover of Oprah. Popping bottles, feet all in the sofa. It's a celebration, though the times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge. But it's a celebration, times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge.
We're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, the pod where chaos rules and black culture is supreme. This podcast will deep dive into modern black culture and how millennials and Gen Z can navigate the crazy parts, from finances, music, black business highlights, home ownership, HBCU sports, black nerdom, anime, wrestling. If it encompasses black culture, we're going to cover it. Live from the 7-5, I am your host and the creator of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, your boy Ked the Pro, aka the Calculated Millennial, Chaotic Ked, Ked the Poet, Ked the Closer. The 843 is me, but VA is where I stay. Always chaotic, never toxic most days. Back again, once again, with your black culture highlights and some black culture shenanigans. With me is 3 members of the squad today. Johnny could not be here because he is currently moving, so we hope that he has a good move, a less stressful move or stress-free move. We hope that everything goes well for him. In the meantime, let's go ahead and introduce the ladies of the pod, starting with the first lady, Miss Nasa. Please go ahead and introduce yourself, ma'am.
Y'all already know what is good. I hope all is well. It's your girl Nasa, aka Tony Noir, and welcome to the station and good vibes only. So I'm excited for this little episode. I'm excited because I was able to get through that. I was able to get through these projects. So
Hey, that's
yeah,
what's up. That's
let's
what's
go ahead
up.
and do it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. With that, I am going to next highlight Miss Sappy. Please go ahead and introduce yourself, ma'am.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. It is Sappy. No AKAs or hey, just go by Sappy. 4 letters. All right. And we have a great episode for you guys today. I actually made it through this one as well, so we're going to do that. Okay.
Indeed. And then finally, of course, the first person to ever join the pod here, the boy Law. Please, sir, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on, party people? It's your boy Law, aka Smurda. Back at it again. It's been a minute, so without further ado, let's get to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So with that, we got to do just a quick mental health check. I'm gonna go ahead and start. So things have been going on with my family right now. I'm not gonna get into details or specifics, but I just ask for your prayers. Things can happen, and when it comes to the elders of your family, you always want to be sure that you're taking care of them and looking after them. So just keep me in prayer at the moment. Again, I had a good session with my therapist, so everything has been looking good so far, and I will see her again, not this coming week, but the next week. So, all right, anybody else?
I guess I can go next. I'm definitely been in a better mental space, a very clearer space. I've been taking the time to be more consistent in the gym, trying to be a lot more intentional as far as health. Y'all know me. I like to, dabble in some ganja here and there, you know what I'm saying? So I haven't really done that in about a month and a half. So I'm very proud of myself. So we're just gonna keep going, see how the progress going. I think the whole goal for me is really just more so about obedience. And since this is a gospel episode, let's thank God for the obedience. Because God, I needed it.
Hey, I hear you.
So yeah, we're gonna continue that.
I definitely hear you. Anybody else?
I was gonna say I'll tap in. Yeah, patience, I think, is the word of it's April. Yeah, patience is the word of April because Lord knows mine has been tested.
Mm.
Other than that, I just take every day with a grain of salt and try not to get too what's the word, overwhelmed by everything that's been going on.
I 100% feel that, man. Like you have no idea, man. April has definitely been March too, for real, for real. These last couple months have really been like a test of character. So, um, gotta roll with it. And my mic is wants to not behave, but anyway, Sabby, did you want to tap in real quick, or are you good?
Yes, sir. I've been good. I got to see my best friend this weekend, so I'm rejuvenated.
Okay.
We binge watched. I've never seen this show, Love After Lockup. Have y'all seen
Mm.
that before?
Mm-mm.
Mm.
Listen, I'm not a reality show person, but I was invested, and it was hilarious. It is a
Uh,
hilarious series. So
yeah.
yes, I've had
Uh,
a good weekend. So hopefully that moves into the week of having a good week.
I
That's
hear
what's
you. I
up.
hear you. Speaking of reality shows, my friends are really trying to convince me to watch Love Is Blonde, and I really don't want to.
I
But
can't. Yeah, that
listen,
doesn't appeal to me at all.
yeah, they already forced me to watch The Ultimatum, and I was like, I cannot believe I just sat here and watched that entire thing with them, and I was so heated because it just, it was so frustrating. But in any case, we got a music roundtable that we got to get to. So first and foremost, guys, yeah, it's a gospel episode because today we are going to be covering probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, gospel artist of all time. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Kirk Franklin. You already know what it is. Based on your votes on Twitter, of course, you selected this artist for us to cover. We were supposed to cover this on Easter, but again, things happened. Schedules did not align. So, here we are trying to make the most out of, what the situations that we have. So, with that, I'm hoping that everybody who's been listening is familiar with the Music Roundtable rules. If not, I will go over them briefly. Albums, projects are graded on a letter grade scale between S and F, with S being superior or classic, A being great, B being good, C being mid, D for dud, and F for flop. When determining grades, all participants should consider the following: composition and structure, lyrics, subject matter, production, vibe, and overall impact on the album on society. Graders can give their honest opinion about a project, but consider all factors when giving a project its proper placement. Majority rules for grades on an album and their placement as far as ranking. However, if there's a disagreement on a certain album, the grades will be broken down into actual points, and the average point total will determine the ranking for the album. At the end, if multiple albums are in a ranking class and the order from greatest to least cannot be determined, the point system will also come into play to determine the correct order. The points are allocated on a college level grading point scale, with S rank being anything over 100. For those who don't know what that grade point scale is, allow me to elaborate. S is anything between 100 and 110. A is 90 to 99. B is 80 to 89. C is 70 to 79. D, 60 to 69. F, 59 and below. And S rank will be capped at 110 to avoid any point disadvantages. In this case, it's going to be a little different because, with gospel, I did change up not the order. It's still S, A, B, C, D, and F, but there is a little bit of a adjustment because it's gospel. So I want y'all to read this here. I'm gonna actually share my screen. For those who are listening, of course, if you are watching us, you subscribe to the Patreon, you get a chance to actually see us react to these in real time. If you want to actually watch the video, subscribe to the Patreon. That's the best way that I can put it. Patreon.com/chaotic culture pod. So while we do that, let me just make sure that this thing is popping up correctly because my computer likes to does not like to cooperate with me at times. So here we go. So I'm going to share the screen here. Now, if you're watching, you see what S is. S is sanctified. A is anointed. B is blessed. C, give him praise. D, make a joyful noise. And F is to God be the glory.
F should have been bless you heart.
I wanted to I thought about that, but I was like, I think to God be the glory. It was like, well, you know what? You did what you could with
To
it,
God be
but
the glory.
Take your time. Take your time.
right,
Take your
right, right.
time. That's
For
the one.
love
Take your
to
time.
think.
Got it. So, of course, with every music roundtable, we always want to be sure that we start in order. So, in this case, the first album that Kirk Franklin ever dropped was Kirk Franklin and the Family. Now, this is of course, one of his shorter albums. I'm not placing this in because I want to make sure that we all can agree that where it goes, but I'm putting it in here so that everyone can see which album this is. So mind you, if you've never heard Kirk Franklin and the Family, his first album, it's I'm gonna say it like this: if you've never heard it, but you've heard all of Kirk Franklin's albums before, this was probably still rooted in a lot of traditionalist gospel music from that time. So there are not a lot of the hip hop elements that will be present in his later albums, but still, these are some pretty good albums. In my case, with this one, it's a little slower than a lot of his albums, and then we'll come to find out that a lot of his albums also have a lot of gospel ballads on them, and some of them ballads are long. So in this case, if you've never listened to Kirk Franklin and the Family, Why We Sing is definitely one of them, and then Silver and Gold is that other one. You've also got Call on the Lord as one of the deeper cuts, and He Can Handle It. That's a couple for me. Does anybody have any opinion of his first album?
Silver and Gold is that track. That is, I can't recall if that's the first track that I've were introduced to when I heard Kirk Franklin, but that is my favorite Kirk Franklin song. I don't know if it's the vocalist singing, but that track is everything.
Mm-hmm.
They made us audition for the solo growing up in the children's choir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Silver and Gold I'm very familiar with. Yeah, good memories. Also a lot of repetitions.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, you can only sing Silver and Gold but so many times.
You right. You are right.
For me, it's like the first three songs are always the go-to reason why we sing. He's Able. I kind of replayed that song for a little bit. That was kind of on my replay list. But like everything else was good. I think I said Until We Meet Again was a pretty good one. It was either Till We Meet Again or Speak to Me was the one that I liked.
Those are some pretty decent tracks as well. I think I had some thoughts that I might have put on Twitter. After a while, I stopped giving thoughts on them because time. But I just said the first album is always special to me because I remember those nights where my mom would like get off work late and take me back home, and then Why We Sing would always play, and I used to think that was the like original song because y'all know he uses His Eyes on the Sparrow as part of the track. So and when you're young, you're not really aware that song exists until you get a little older and you start to understand that he's pulling from different gospel songs. But this album still holds up pretty well, and I think like the vocalist within the family truly accompanies Kirk's directing style as well. So what are our grades for this album?
This album gets a A for me. 90, 93-ish.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would have to give this one kind of like an 88. Like it's a high beat. Like I think it was like a good introduction to who he is as an artist. But I would give this one like a solid, no, not an 88, like an 85, like a good solid beat to that.
Okay. 90, we got 93, we got 85. Law, what's your score?
I give him an 89.
89. Okay.
That's because
Eh,
again, Silver and Gold was that song. Like I could think of across different denominations how many times and how many different services I heard Silver and Gold. Like
Hey, look,
that was like the
I understand.
universal church song in that era.
I got you, man. I got you. Um, I'm also going to go the rap route of Sappy. I'm gonna give him a 93, which puts him right at 90 even. So it is an A minus. All right. Which brings us to the next gospel album, What You're Looking For. So I have to do deep heavy Negro side for this one because it's like Melodies from Heaven, probably one of
Melodies
the
from Heaven.
best gospel songs ever created. It's just the rest of the album is kind of up and down sometimes. And I think that really bothers me a lot because it's like, yo, Melodies from Heaven is really that song, but everything else just seems to be it just moves at a much slower pace. And I don't know what it is about it. It's um I think maybe just the album itself just maybe have way too many ballads because it seemed like every other song on What You're Looking For was a ballad outside of a couple. I will say though that Conquerors and Jesus Paid It All, yes, absolute yes. Everything else is like okay, okay. So
Don't take
I-
your joy. Don't take your joy away was a good one. That was actually a good one. I'm not gonna sit here and cat like
hey, I'll give you that. Don't take your
that
joy
was
away.
that
Was
was an
good.
actually good one because I actually when I
Yeah.
heard that song I put that on repeat too. I'm just like
And I think the transition between
he
Conquerors
went
and
there.
Don't Take Your Joy Away was very smooth. So I will give you that. Um, does anybody else have any thoughts about this?
Um,
I mean, Melodies from Heaven, everybody know that's that track right there. But I Love You Jesus is my favorite track on that album. I don't know. I just love the ballad
Mm-hmm.
of that. I mean, it's gospel, so no matter what, but that was my
Yeah,
favorite track off of that album.
and it's not a bad track at all. It's not. It's really not a bad track. I think maybe it's just because I might have been at the wrong place at the wrong time when I listened to this album because I was in the gym listening to it. So maybe I was expecting a little more upbeat gospel music, but then I was just like, dang, there's a lot of ballads on this one.
that's the
So
Yeah.
next album. But this what you said what you looking for?
mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie. I was listening to this at like 10 o'clock right after I got off work. It put me right to sleep. I woke up
Man,
and like it
I
repeated. So like I woke up and it's still and it just so happened I woke up to Melodies from Heaven. So imagine that morning like I was just like super refreshed.
hey, I feel it, man. I feel it. So as far as grades, I'm giving this one an 88. It's like I think for me, I think an 88 is a fair grade. It's not pushing A for me, but almost like right there because of those tracks that I named and a couple of the ballads y'all did. It's just maybe I think the album just didn't have a lot of. I wanted more upbeat music to go with that, but that's just my opinion. What's everyone's thoughts?
I don't know. For me, in comparison to other Kirk Franklin albums, like what we have later in the episode, it's a 75 for me.
Oh,
It's a 75.
it's a
Yeah.
75. Oh gosh,
Yeah. I
okay.
feel like compared to the other ones, yeah, this one is getting just a little
Dang,
bit.
I was
I
gonna
was
say
gonna
I
be
thought
nice and say 85. Like, I was
you're right. I'm thinking, dang, I thought I was being generous, or dang, I thought I
I
was
mean,
the
I
one that
love
was
the
being like,
Lord, but this
right.
album doesn't do it for me.
yeah.
But
I
I
honestly
but I
thought
know
that this was like I thought I was the one being like hard on it, but I shoot, Sappy said, nah, I'm gonna be harder.
Can we just
So
put a slight disclaimer out there and say that in no way, shape, or form our dislike of an album does not mean that we are heathens.
no, absolutely not. No. We are saved and sanctified over
Disclaimer:
here.
we love the Lord. However, this album did
Mm,
not make that bond stronger.
I, oh gosh. Nasa.
Um. Okay, so I'm honestly glad that the first album got that 90.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I kind of wish I had given it kept it at the 89. But for this one, I'm going to be generous. I'll give it a 85 because I feel like there was like probably about like I want to say a good portion of the songs, but like 1, 2, 3, it's kind of giving me the same amount as the other project. So I'll give this an
Mm-hmm.
85. I'll give it an 85. I'll still give it an 85.
Okay. And Law, what was your score?
Same as Nas's 85.
85. Okay. Dang, maybe when I'm lowering my daggone score. It's an 83.25. So what you're looking for will be in the blessed category. All
It's
right.
blessed.
Highly favored. Amen.
It's a
Amen.
blessed and highly favorite album.
All right. That actually brings us to the Christmas album. Now, I'm not gonna hold y'all. I listen to this Christmas album every single Christmas. Like this
Yeah.
one is. I know we got the folk that love Mariah Carey and throw All I Want for Christmas Is You like clockwork. Between this and Handel's Messiah, for me, this gets played every Christmas. So,
It's the J5 album for me, but it's the J5
Come on.
Christmas
In
album.
my mind.
hey, you right. But listen, for this Christmas album, one, it doesn't stay too long. It's only 53 minutes, so it's not even an hour. But for me, like their version of Silent Night, Now Behold the Lamb. Oh God, Now Behold the Lamb. Goodness gracious. Jesus is the reason for the season. Their version of Oh Come All Ye Faithful. Thank You for Your Child, The Night That Christ Was Born. Like I can all of that. I will say that their version of Go Tell on the Mountain, I'm not the biggest fan of, but I still play it. So there's that. I really do like this Christmas album. That's just me, and I don't like a lot of holiday albums. It has to be like really special, as he said, like Temptations, Mariah Carey. There's not a lot of artists that I will go to for a Christmas album. Not a lot of artists that we rank Christmas albums for. If you've listened to a episode before, when we did Neo's discography, we didn't rank his Christmas album. It was an NR, so no rating. So, but this one, like for me, is it the best Christmas album of all time? Maybe not, but it still holds a place in my heart, and this might be a little bit of bias coming in, but I'm giving this a 92. That's just me.
I will say it does take me back when I listen to it. I don't listen to it every year, but like as you were naming the songs, and I'm thinking about the weeks leading up to Christmas, I'm just like, okay, I can remember hearing this in the car. My whole family in there. Jesus is the reason.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? It did give me the vibes. But for to listen to it in February.
I mean, see, this is why I was like, I'm going based off my listen in December. Like, that's why I didn't listen to it after that. I'm like, nah, it's once January hit. In February, I already knew what the album was about, so that's why I didn't go back. But yeah, I feel what you're saying though.
Here's my thing. I feel like Now Behold the Lamb kind of surpasses Just Christmas. So I've always listened, like Now Behold the Lamb is kind of one of those songs that I've always listened outside of Just Christmas. Now everything else, especially Oh Come All Ye Faithful, I remember singing that in the children's choir. Like,
yes,
that was one of those songs.
It also played in a couple of if anybody has ever, or anybody's church has ever done Black Nativity, that sometimes, like depending on who directs it, I've seen this song get played a couple times where they'll do "Come Let Us Adore Him." kneel down before him, like in their black nativity scenes. And I'm like, oh, okay, they actually added that. And so that's why that song gets a boost for me as well. But what are your thoughts, Master, as far as
I
grade?
definitely will give this. I agree with you. I think that this was definitely deserves to be in the A category. So I will
Okay.
give this a 92 as well.
All right. Sap.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. So stop.
Uh-oh.
So when I first listened to so this was the first time I heard this album. Um, I will say I'm not really a fan of churchy Christmas albums. I know that's so like weird to say because of what Christmas is, right? But I don't know. The music was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't that type of album for me. Like it's not something I would put on repeat during the holiday season.
I got you.
It's not. But it's a good album. So for me, grading wise, I'll give it a 89.
Okay. And Law?
But
You said butt sapping? But
no, that's it.
oh.
But it wasn't doing it for me. That's what I wasn't. But it wasn't doing it for me.
I got you.
Vocals and everything is there though.
I'm gonna be fair because when it actually comes to Christmas albums, I don't usually fare well for them. So I'm gonna give him a 90.
Okay. That brings his total score to 90.75, which is 0.75 above Kirk Franklin and Family.
Hey, I've been spot on, like in the categories.
Yeah, man. All right. Now we are getting to the nitty and the gritty here.
Oh snap!
So, and as I'm looking through this, I realize that there is one missing, and I'm a little upset because I'm trying to figure out where that cover went, because I know I added it and I need them to fix that. Either way, I'll fix it. Yeah, God's Property.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just skip all the BS. Let's go ahead and make that a sanctified album. Okay, there was no skips.
Do we have any disagreements
on that? Just raise that bad boy up.
Just go ahead and rank that up. We're not even gonna have no discussion on that one. That was a sanctified album.
So if you were introducing someone to Kirk Franklin, that is the album that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is the one that, if nothing else, that shot him up. And
that's the one.
Leaving me a clean heart. No, I think
I literally remember, like, this was actually the first album that I got introduced to him when I was a kid. Like, yeah, I heard all the other albums. Like, I heard other songs from the other albums, but this was the only project that I actually had like an actual CD to, and would listen to it all the way through. Like,
man, look, my mama, when she bought this CD, look, I had it on repeat, like every single song, like every single track, from Stomp, My Life Is in Your Hands, It's Raining, More Than I Can Bear,
More Than I Could Bear.
More Than I Can Bear is that one.
Sweet Spirit has always touched me.
Yeah, yes, that one too.
That has always touched me.
The storm is over now.
And the storm is over now. Yeah.
I didn't
and he'll take your pain away.
A whole lot of secular music, as they would say. So like Stomp, anytime like that would come on, I'm move.
This is when Kirk was like, I'm gonna add a little hip hop seasoning into this.
Just
a little.
This is sprinkle.
All right, so give me 1 second, because there is there's an album that's missing, and I'm a little upset that this thing did not grab that actual cover, and I'm trying to figure out why I didn't do that. So let me go to my phone here and find out what the heck is going on. In the meantime, it's God's Property is one of them ones, man. If y'all have never listened to this album before, like, what are you doing? If you're a gospel fan, like, please do yourself the favor and just listen to it. Like, it is really just phenomenal. Like, I can't even, it's really kind of hard to describe for real. Goodness. So I'm going to go back to my files and we're going to do this the right way, and it better add this thing on here because why
Is that
it
unanimous
didn't.
101?
It's definitely it's definitely unanimous S. Like, there's nothing that can compare for real, man. Like, I'm trying to think if there is one, but I can't think of it. So
In New Nation Project.
New Nation.
and
Look,
see, that's what we get into
last,
next.
if we're gonna talk
And
about it, his last between
and
we gonna get to it. We gonna get to it.
so yeah, that's actually the next project that we're bringing up, and that was the cover art that I was missing for some strange reason. But yeah, the New Nation Project.
We can go again. Go ahead and
right
put
there.
that in the S category.
Yeah, this is
Or did it just upload?
It literally just uploaded. Give my computer 1 sec to get right. Now, here's the thing. Is it better than God's Property? Is it the same? What's I'm gonna put it there for right now, but yeah, listen, the New Nation Project.
That's how the order should be. Because God's Property it's gonna stand strong. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It came with such pressure. Okay.
Hey, but see, that's the thing. The New Nation Project came with some pressure too. Now, first and foremost,
Something
like
about the name Jesus.
the name Jesus.
Yeah.
Woo.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Ransom.
All I'm gonna say is God's Property and New Nation can go toe for toe. They can definitely go toe for toe.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Ooh, Hold Me Now will always. That's a tearjerker.
It's one of the ones. It's one of the ones.
That is a tearjerker. Okay.
Can we let the listeners pick between which should be top two for the?
Oh yeah, we could definitely put it up to a vote. I'll go on the Twitter page and the Instagram page and be like, hey, which one do y'all think is the better of the two, God's Property or the New Nation Project?
Yeah, let's get a little bit of interaction.
Yeah, because for me, it's really like it could be one day or the other where I think one might be better. But when you got Revolution, you got, despite him being on this song, and y'all know which hymn I'm talking about, Lean on Me. Something about the name Jesus, Riverside, He Loves Me. Shout out to Bill Withers, Gonna Be a Lovely Day. Praise Joint, which is actually a flip of Stomp. For those who know, Stomp and Praise Joint were sampled from One Nation Under a Groove by Parliament Funkadelic. It's just a lot. No skippable songs on it for me. So yeah, all right. So I guess that brings us to Kirk Franklin presents One Nation Crew. I'm not gonna hold y'all. This was probably one of his weakest projects.
Wait, which one is this? Which one?
This one. If you
I thought it was me because it was pulling teeth trying to get through that album.
No. This one is one of his weaker ones. It might be his weakest one.
I ain't gonna put it in the F category though.
I thought that the rebirth of Kirk Franklin was his next project.
It was his next solo project, but he still have this one, and then we still gotta do Kingdom Come, which that's something else that I gotta talk about. But yeah, this one
the edited list, because
I actually did not listen to that, so I do apologize.
It's not a problem.
It wasn't worth it.
It wasn't worth it. You wouldn't have remembered it anyway. There was only two songs. There was literally only two songs that I remember from it, and they both played on the radio. And one of them, it doesn't hold up well. It just doesn't. So I was going to give it an F, but Sappy said D. Man,
Oh
I really
damn,
don't want
not
to
a
give any of
D.
Kirk. Yeah, I really don't want to give any of Kirk's projects an F, but
I mean, we don't gotta call it an F. We could just say to
yeah,
God be glory.
yeah. You're right. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. But I'm gonna leave it in the D category. I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna be generous.
So look,
All right.
anything below, give them praise. I think that's how we should call them. You know what I'm saying? Instead of doing them by A, B, C.
Mm,
It was anointed. It was
mm,
blessed. Give
yeah.
them praise.
You're right. You're right.
It made a joyful noise.
I made a joyful
it did.
noise. Take your time. Take your time.
Now, that brings us to the Kingdom Come soundtrack. For those who actually watched it and remember this movie, it's been a long time since I've seen Kingdom Come. I actually want to go back and watch it again.
You
But
talking about LL Cool J?
and the reason I included this is because the whole album was written and produced by Kirk.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So that's the only main reason. But there's not a lot of songs on here that will hold you. Except for Thank You with him and Mary Mary and Kingdom Come with him and Jill Scott. Like them two is one of them ones. I will say That Will Be Done by Deborah Cox. I also is one of the ones as well. But everything else is kind of like, eh. Even and here's it's a crazy. Even As Yet has a song on here.
I
And I
saw
was
that.
like, I listen. I'm like,
Random.
this is all right, I guess. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
The album
I
just needed to do what they needed to do. That's it. It was
yeah,
there for that.
it was there for that. So again, I'm not gonna put this in F. But it's there.
I
But
think
Kurt
if
was
we had a not voting tab, that's where I put that.
I got you.
Like not rated. There we go.
Not rated.
Right there.
We may just change that, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. So then the next actual album is The Rebirth of Kirk Franklin. Now, for those who don't know the history behind what was going on, Kirk Franklin and the family actually split at this point. And they actually sued him over the New Nation project because they didn't get any credits on it because they were the ones who were singing on this project, or the majority of the project. So yeah, they had unfortunately a terrible split. Of course, he's reunited with the family on multiple occasions afterwards. But yeah, this is what we call a solo artist, but it's really just him and another choir that he formed under him. So
Yeah, let's go
now
ahead and put him in the S category. I'm sorry.
you're not lying, because the Rebirth is again one of those albums that I was like, yeah, this one is I replayed this album multiple times when I was 10, 11, 12, and 13 years old. Like, this is probably outside of the New Nation project and God's property. Yeah, this is probably like my dang, I don't want to call it my absolute favorite. But either way, but
I
before I
can't
do,
see. I can't. Okay, I was about to say, like, sir, you got to put it in the S category.
no, I mean I'm was going to, but I wanted to see what Law and Sabby had to say before I did.
Oh, sorry.
So
I mean, it's not S for me. It's a strong A. It's like 99. You know what I mean?
you said 99.
Because I mean, Brighter Day is on there. That's come on now, it's Brighter
Mm-hmm.
Day. But I don't think it's God's property level to me.
Okay.
But if
Oh, shit.
the masses outrank me, but it's a 99 for me.
I felt that grandma pain
Oh, at the beginning.
in the intro, right? I love my grandma. I spent a lot of time with my grandma. So like when she was just like, "You doing this again?" And she was like, "Mama," I'm like, "Yo, why you doing your mama like that?" And then as I got older and realized like that was Kirk Franklin being dropped off to his grandmother, I was just like, "Oh, that's rough." And then you just told me the backstory behind the actual family breaking up. I was just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for me, so Anointed goes up to 100?
Anointed is like 99, and then if it's 100, it'll go up to S.
So what if I hit y'all with a 99 and a half?
That's crazy, but if we can add it up, so Sabby said 99, you said 99.5. I mean, I'm probably already gonna give it an S grade anyways, because that's it's one of my favorites. Look, if nothing else, because of Don't Cry with him and Richard Smallwood. Like Richard's pen on that song.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, probably one of my favorites on here is, I mean, granted, my life, my love, my all.
Yes.
When you see the live version of this, tearjerker, like.
Oh,
Yes,
yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes,
send you
sir.
there. And also the blood song. Like, I was actually listening to that in the gym, and I was just like, wow, why do I feel the anointing in this gym right now?
You are not wrong. You are not wrong. But and then of course you got He Reigns, Awesome God, which my teen choir sang. You know, we
I ain't
brought
gonna
that up.
hold y'all. Friday day, we sang that in the ground.
Yeah, yes.
He Reigns is one of those songs that, like, what children choir did not sing that song?
That's a good question, bro. I don't know what youth choir did not sing Awesome God, He Reigns, because mine certainly did, and we ran that to the ground too. So yeah.
That's why I said, like, it's for those staples, it's the half. For everything else, it's the 99. So like,
I got you.
Split decision.
So, with that, then Nasa, what is your actual grade for it? S is 100 and above. So just to remind you.
I think that this is I do feel like this was like another S project, so I'll give it 100.
Okay, so we got 100 plus 99 plus 99.5 plus. I'm gonna do 101 divided by 4. 99.875.
I'm told y'all, I'm on the road.
This man.
Hey, y'all gonna make me go gamble.
This man. That 90 that 0.5 killed it. It dropped it from S to like, it's like teetering on S, but either way, okay. I'm not too mad at it. All right. That brings us to his next album, Hero. Now this is where we start to get more samples from Kirk Franklin. Obviously, a lot of his albums have samples, but we start to get a little more with Looking For You, Imagine Me. There's a few that are sprinkled in there in different songs here, but Why with Stevie Wonder is actually one of my favorites. Broken Hearted with Marvin L. Winans, and obviously Imagine Me is that one for me. Hero is, if I had to give Hero a grade, I'm going to say this is a solid A. You know, it's not like one of his best projects, but it still was a project that actually meant a lot to me in my early teens. So that's just me personally. This is like hovering in the 94 range, but I did want to hear the rest of you guys' thoughts.
I was gonna say my mom love Could Have Been.
Could Have Been was definitely one of those ones.
J. Moss and Ty Tribbett. I mean, every time we was in the car, and this was when she listened to what's them sister's name? It'll come back to me. But yeah, so like when my dad figured out how to like burn CDs, that's that was the song that everybody, like my mama essentially was, it could have been me. Like mom, can we change to something else? She was like, gosh, boy.
Hey, man.
I'll give it a 94.
Okay. Ladies?
I don't know. I feel like this is actually kind of like one of my favorite projects. Like only because one Hero, I will replay that song. That's that song. Okay,
Yes.
DeAndrea, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did her thing on that one. Let's see. Let It Go. I just remember just listening to this entire project when I was younger, because this project was actually introduced to me by my stepmom, so she would have this playing around the house as well. um and I just like how collectively it was put together, so I'm going to give it um a 98.
Okay. Sappy.
And this is actually one of my favorite albums by him. I
Hmm.
think I don't know, maybe because Imagine Me is probably one of my favorite by him.
Yes.
Well, one of the top five. So for rating, I am gonna give it a 94. It's
Okay.
definitely in the A category. It is definitely in the A category. I
Yep.
find it a little bit higher up in the A category for me. Yeah.
That puts it at 95, which will put it right
Right where it
behind
needs
the
to be.
Rebirth. Yep. Okay. Next is The Fight of My Life. I'm not gonna hold y'all. This is actually one of my least favorites. I'm not the biggest fan of The Fight of My Life. Um, even This Is It is probably the one that kind of okay, and then Little Boy with Rance Allen, that does kind of hit, but I think everything else for me doesn't really stick with me with this album. I kind of I listened and it went by so fast. I couldn't even really get into the spirit with this one. I tried listening back to a few of them, and it's just like I don't know if I can do it. I can't really get through it for real, for real. So I'm not saying that this is not D at all. This is not a D. This is a C for me. Personally, I we'll calculate grades, I guess, once we get our opinions. But that's just me personally. This is probably just my outside of the One in C and Kingdom Come. This is probably my least favorite project from him. Anybody else?
I feel like it's better
I feel
than.
like go ahead. Go ahead.
I was saying I feel like it was better than what you're looking for.
Interesting take.
Not by a whole lot, but just enough to give it that bump.
Okay. Sappy.
So this was the first time I heard this album as well. I'm not gonna lie, there wasn't any like memorable songs for me to where I was like, okay, this is something that I'm gonna add to my gospel playlist. Um, it was a good album. It wasn't terrible. But like I said, it wasn't really memorable for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna compare it to the other ones where I could be like, okay, this is my favorite track off of this album. So I'm gonna have to give it a C.
Yep.
It's not a D, but I'll definitely give it like an 83-ish.
But that's more of the B category.
No, that's
but,
B, 73.
Yeah. Okay.
I had to do my calculations real quick.
Gotcha. NASA.
I will have to say this is probably kind of like a hard one to get through. It's not a bad project. I won't say that. It's not a bad project. It just kind of took me a little bit, and I honestly did not get through all of it. So I think I will give it I honestly think I will give it like a 79.
Okay. And Law, you said it was better than what you're looking for. But what grade were you giving it?
I'm gonna give it an 84.
84. That puts it at 77.75 because mine was a 75 as far as the grade. So we got our first C. So for those who have been listening in, of course, just to keep it up and to make sure that you are following along. In the S, in the sanctified category, we got God's Property and the New Nation Project. In the anointed category, we got the rebirth of Kirk Franklin, Hero, Kirk Franklin and the Family Christmas, and Kirk Franklin and the Family. In the blessed category, we got What You're Looking For. In the C category, For Giving Praise, we got The Fight of My Life. In the D category, Make a Joyful Noise, we got Kirk Franklin Presents One MC and Kingdom Come soundtrack. Now, that brings us to Hello Fear. Now, I actually don't want to go first on this one. Does anybody else want to take the lead on this one before I give my opinion?
I want to say the feature from
That's
Mali
mine.
was spot on.
You said the feature with Molly Music?
Yes.
Yes. That's
Very-
definitely
First of all,
one of
Molly
them ones.
music is amazing, phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Absolutely.
I wish
praise
he
and
had
worship.
more accolades than he does.
I don't disagree. I
Shout out
don't
to the
disagree.
praise and worship team for that one. If they pulled that one off, they were right there. You know.
That's real.
The altar.
Ooh, yes.
Something about the altar. Something about the altar did something to me. Yeah.
For me, it's Something About the Name Jesus Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
At the altar, I don't want to be that guy, but I Smile. Yes, that does still rock with me. Even though my a funny story about that, because I was a summer camp counselor this year, in 2011, and when I tell you that summer camp, it was at my church. They played "I Smile" to the ground. It seemed like
That was a
every
radio
morning.
favorite when that came out.
Yes,
Oh my
yes, and
goodness.
shout out to because if for those who know, okay, "I Smile" is a sample from "Smile" from Scarface, which is an interpolation of "Tell Me If You Still Care" by the SOS Band. So it's like, oh man, I love it, but boy, every morning it was "Today's a New Day" with all the kids, and I'm sitting there like, oh my
I
gosh,
ain't gonna
oh
lie
my
though, I
gosh.
just loved that sample because that is one of my favorite SOS band songs. So when they did a
Yes, it is.
smile for me, just smile, I'm like, yes, I love
And
it.
that's really what is its
Hey.
saving grace for me, is because again, "Tell Me If You Still Care" is by far my favorite SOS Band song. So it's like, okay, yeah, all right, but
So they made me do a praise dance to Smile. So,
man,
Please tell me you got that on video.
it's like, yeah, now I want to
Please tell
see
me.
it.
Share it
It's
with the
like,
class.
that's in the vault forever. Yeah.
Oh, I will say, even though we know that Kirk Franklin really can't sing for real, but I will say, "But the Blood" definitely was
He
you
just
know,
screamed it.
yeah, he kind of just, he spake it. He did
He
what he
gets
did.
great singers. He finds amazing
He
singers.
does.
Okay?
Correct.
He has
But
talent radar.
I will give him "But the Blood" only because like I could feel the pain in his voice when he was singing it. I'm like, okay, or when he was trying to sing it. So, yeah. What are our grades for this one?
I would give this one a good 95. Because I really do think that this was like a really good album, and it had I do feel like it had its high points with like "Hello Fear." Granted, "I Smile" was ran through the ground, but it still hit.
Yep.
"Altar" and like those songs, and then "Something About the Name Jesus" Part 2. Yeah, I'll give this a solid 95.
Okay.
I'm docking points for all the times I had to do the praise dance. So
We still waiting on the video.
Okay.
It's gonna get a 90 from me.
All right.
Mm.
Savvy.
It's an 89 for me.
Okay. I'm going to say it is a 94 in my book, which puts it at a 92. And that would put it right there. Okay.
Good placement right there, you know.
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad at all. Losing My Religion is next.
My religion.
Was this the one
I
that went like rock?
Not necessarily, no. Um, this is the one that has 1-2-3 Victory and Wanna Be Happy on there.
I just want to be happy.
So, I got mixed feelings about this one. I love the poem at the beginning. Absolutely love the poem at the beginning. Like that was like, whoa, okay, Kirk, I hear you. Like we on the same page. If you haven't listened to that Losing My Religion poem, please do yourself a favor and do that. 1-2-3 Victory was actually not one of my favorites radio songs. Anytime that song came on, I will admit, Lord forgive me, I did change the station. that was one of them. I'm like, nope, I'm sorry, I can't do it. But Wanna Be Happy, I did enjoy, and I still do enjoy. In part because that samples Al Green. I'm so tired of being alone.
Not gonna lie though, 1-2-3 Victory. The definition sample. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
You make a good point. I
It
don't
was
know what
so
it is about
cheesy,
that
but it was
song.
so good. It was so
Yeah.
cheesy, but I was like, okay, I see what y'all did there.
Now, the song "Win" with Kim Burrell and Layla Hathaway. Yes,
You cannot go wrong with Layla.
you cannot.
You can
You
never go
cannot. I was not feeling the 1-2-3 Victory remix with Pharrell. I mean, he did his thing, but I don't know. It just
The
I
original is
don't know.
always better.
Yeah. In some cases, the original is always better. There are a lot of remixes that are better than the original songs, but that's not normal in gospel though. In this case, the original is better. I don't know. This is more like a. It's not a C. I want to. For me, this is like a B minus. It's like right there for me because there are certain songs on there, like I said, that really hit, and then there's songs I'm just kind of like, I don't know. So, anybody else want to give a grade?
I cannot give a grade on this project because I did not listen to it. This is probably the one project I may have stopped at. But
DNL. Okay.
so I'm gonna have to pass on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to give it an 80.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like it's an 80. Law
75.
75. All right. Divided by 3. 78.333. So it'll give him praise. Hey, it is what it is. We got 2 albums left, guys. It's going by fairly quickly. 2 albums left. All right. So for our audience, if again to make sure that we're up to speed in the S category for Kirk Franklin, we got God's Property. Kirk Franklin's The New Nation Project. In the A category, we got The Rebirth of Kirk Franklin, Hero, Hello Fear, The Christmas Album, Kirk Franklin and the Family. In the Blessed category, or in the B category, we got What You're Looking For. In the C category, we got Losing My Religion and The Fight of My Life. And in the D category, we got Kirk Franklin Presents One in C and The Kingdom Come soundtrack, which brings us to Long Live Love. And I am going to be honest here. I enjoyed this album more than I thought that I would. This is actually my my third listen through because when it came out in 2019, I definitely listened to it and I was like, okay, this is the album that I kind of needed in this moment. And then it kind of breaks a cycle because a lot of Kirk's albums after the Rebirth of Kirk Franklin were all like running that 1 hour 17 minute or 1 hour 15 minute or 1 hour and 20 minute time frame. This is only 49 minutes, so it actually is his shortest album, and it doesn't stay long, and it really, for me, it hits really quickly. Of course, you got Love Theory, Strong God for me, Spiritual, Beautiful Grace, even Favor. Like all of those really just really hit me, and it might be a little bit of bias here, but that album really did something for my spirit. Now, is it better than anything in the A category? I don't think so. I'm leaning more towards like a strong 88 for me personally. But what does everybody else think?
Yeah, it was
It's the
89.
harmonies and idols for me.
Yeah, you know
It's
what?
the
Yes,
harmonies.
you make a valid point. You make a valid point. I
But
think I added
overall,
that to my gospel list too.
it sure was added to mine.
I would say not
Overall, I
muted
did
up.
really enjoy this album. Huh?
I said not some muted up. So yeah, put in the chat. Sound went out.
Oh, okay.
But
So I guess
I overall liked the album. Grade wise, I would give it an 85.
okay. All right. So I guess Nasa didn't get to this one either. And so it's an 80 with the R3 grades, it's an 87, which would put it right above what you're looking for.
Mm, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that one. I might have to change my score, B.
Oh Lord.
What was what you're looking for? What was the number?
It was like an 83.
And what's the other one?
Long Live Love was an 87 with R3 grades.
Dang, that's a margin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
solid victory.
All right.
That's a solid victory. It was
Yeah.
That
once.
is. You got it.
And then finally, the joint album between Kirk Franklin and Maverick City Music.
Maverick City. Mhm.
Kingdom Book 1 or Kingdom Book 1 Deluxe in my case.
I listened to Deluxe.
Okay. I got to be brutally honest with this one. There were not enough of the background vocals, at least in Book 1.
Mhm.
It just seemed like I could either hear Kirk's voice or the main male lead's voice all the time, and that annoyed me to high heaven. On top of the fact that a lot of these songs on here were long. There's a
Yes.
20-minute song on here. And granted, listen, y'all, I love Jesus. Let's not get it twisted. I love Jesus, but a 20-minute song. Now, granted, you know, God wants us to praise him anyhow, and it don't matter how long. I'm just saying, for my attention span and me trying to do a listen through, that's a lot to deal with.
Okay, that's that Sunday morning cleaning music or Saturday morning cleaning music. Depending upon you know, wake up and do it. You know that song come on, the vacuum cleaner going. You gotta go and get the the dustpan and broom and clean the house for the day.
No, you're not lying. You're not lying. Dang, man, it's just I want to give it more, but I don't know, man. It's just that one song it's just too long. But a lot of them are too long in general for again for a listen through. But if you're in worship, if you're in spirit, if you're currently, praising the Lord at the moment, or as Law said, if you Saturday morning cleaning, this might be the perfect album for you. But just from, a sit down and listen experience. At least book 1 itself was difficult to get through. Now, book 2 was more catered towards album listening. And I noticed that after I got the Kingdom Book 2 interlude, and mind you, I was like, okay, this is actually an easier listen through because all the songs in here are not long, and then all of them are original songs. Whereas like in book 1, it was a lot of praise and worship songs mixed together. And again,
I'm not gonna lie, it was agony getting through those praise and worship songs.
yeah,
And I hated the sound quality of the album. The
I
first half.
yeah,
I
and that's
understand
what I'm
that they were
saying. Like,
in a, but
yeah, that it's just it. I'm sorry, and again, Mavericks. I have nothing against Mavericks in the music. I have nothing against Chandler Moore. It's just, dog, I don't want to hear your voice every single time at the top. Like, can
he
I
said I
get?
can sing, okay?
And he can. It's just like, bro, but I want to
So
hear
you
the
gonna get
other
these vocals.
vocalists. Yeah, I want to hear the choir. I want to hear the harmonies. It's like, okay, I already got to listen to Kirk, whenever he's
Screaming.
speaking, yeah, and screaming. But man, why am I hearing one voice superseding every other voice in the background? No, it can't be like that. It's got to be a balance,
He
even if
said,
it's
no.
even if it's just like a tiny bit. Like if you listen to like some of the Family albums, okay, there are certain voices you could pinpoint. Like if you go back to Kirk Franklin and the Family, if you go back to the Christmas album, you can pinpoint Tamala Mann's voice.
Oh,
Like it's strong.
absolutely. Well, she
But
just has a distinctive sound.
yes, that's that. And on top of that, she can still blend. And that's the thing. Like she doesn't overpower her section. But and maybe it's just because he's a featured soloist. I don't know. But
He's the
man.
soloist. He's Otis.
Yeah, the
No, he's
soloist.
Otis. He David
Everybody
Ruffin.
else.
Anybody come to see Otis? Okay, they came to see David Ruffin.
Yeah. Everybody came to see Kirk Franklin and Chandler Moore, not the rest of y'all. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh,
They
boy.
just background noise.
In any case, what do we got, y'all? Like
78.
Okay.
I would just say they gave praise.
Okay. So, I think we're all in agreeing that this is probably going to be in the C category. It's just we need a number. Is it better than Losing My Religion? Is it better than The Fight of My Life? Or is it behind?
It's
So
I think it's right in the
in
middle.
the back.
It's in the middle.
In the middle. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. This Zaxby ad.
Random.
Got me starving.
It's random as hell, but okay, guys. Well,
we did it, and
we did it.
The F category.
Yeah, and we did it in.
We're not going to hell, y'all.
To God be the glory.
To God be the glory. We didn't put anything in the F category. So, all right, y'all. So, listen. So now we're gonna do the complete rundown of ranking Kirk Franklin's albums. In the S, the Sanctified category, we got God's Property and Kirk Franklin's The New Nation Project. In the Anointed category, we got The Rebirth of Kirk Franklin, Hero, Hello Fear, the Christmas album, and Kirk Franklin and the Family. In the Blessed category, we got Long Live Love and What You're Looking For. In the C category, The Give Him Praise, we got Losing My Religion, Kingdom Book 1 Deluxe, and The Fight of My Life. And in D, Make a Joyful Noise, we got Kirk Franklin Presents One Nation Crew and the Kingdom Come movie soundtrack. And that concludes all of Kirk Franklin's discography. If you agree with this, please let us know. If you think that one album should be in a different category, of course, please let us know. If you think that God's Property is the greatest Kirk Franklin album, let us know. Or if you think it's the New Nation Project, let us know. Which one is number one? Which one is number two? For some of us, it's interchangeable. But it really just depends on what you think. Goodness gracious, Nasa done dropped out of the whole stream. I didn't even realize it.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
I'm here. Sorry.
Got you.
I don't know what happened, but yeah, my sound went out, but I'm back.
I got you. So She's back. She's back. So, Nasa, do you have any disagreements with any of what we just shared?
No, I'm pretty solid on all of them.
Okay. Cool, cool. I wanted to be sure that your voice was heard and if you had a disagreement on any of those last couple albums, but
What about the last one?
Maverick City.
I actually, funny. I actually went to go see them in concert. And pretty good.
How was
But
that?
it was actually nice. But to be honest, prior to me going, I actually did not listen to any of Maverick City's projects.
mm-hmm.
It was kind of like the first time of me actually hearing, their music. I think the only song that I really like is "Bless Me." Is "Bless Me, Bless Me."
Yeah, that one was a dope one.
Yeah.
Pretty much what we were just saying is that for us, like the sound quality of the album, or at least book one or the first part, was not there, and then it wasn't balanced. Like you really couldn't hear the choir, you really just heard Kirk and Chandler, and it's like, can we get more, please? But in
Please.
any case, it is what it is. It's give him praise. It's it's a decent album. But okay, guys. So that concludes the music roundtable for Kirk Franklin. And again, if you have any disagreements or if you want to share some opinions, please let us know. Again, if you want to see us debate on video, if you want to see us live, you can check out the Patreon. Please be sure that you subscribe to the Patreon. That's patreon.com/chaotic culture pod. Now, before we get up out of here, are there any new business highlights that anybody wants to add before we do the rundown?
Hey, no, not on mine.
Okay.
Not this time.
All
I will find
right.
some.
Got it.
'Cause you gotta buy black.
Indeed. So typically, for the rundown, I would split this up between my pod mates, but I'm just gonna go through it really, really quickly, the entire thing, and then we're just gonna go ahead and get up out of here. So, um, ladies and gentlemen, of course, this is the rundown. If you're not familiar with the rundown, this is where we give shout outs to Black podcasts, Black content creators, Black artists, and Black businesses as a whole that have either been a part of this podcast or have supported this podcast. So, as far as the podcasts go, shout out to Shogo High and Inside and Mind of the Blurred. Of course, I'm a part of those two podcasts as well. Be sure that you check us out. Mike Check, Waifu, Worst Generation Pod, and Blaname Podcast. Of course, I'm Patreon subscribers to all three of those. Please be sure that you check out all three of those podcasts. And definitely shout out to Worst Generation and Blaname Podcast for Anime After Dark, which is held every Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitter Spaces. Shout out to the Truth and Transparency Podcast with Brother X, the Culture Scientist, and Mr. Smith. I was actually featured again on the Truth and Transparency Podcast. If you didn't listen to it last month, be sure that you check it out. The Session with Jay and Trey, Brutal Honesty with Kay Renee. She's actually changed the name of the podcast. So, it's now called With Love, Kay Renee. So definitely be sure you check out the podcast whenever she relaunches it. And of course, check out her novellas under the pen name Sedona Rose, which are all available on Amazon Kindle. Shout out to It's So Real with Raquel and Onaji. Dad Needs to Talk with Rob, the father of Vash. Analytical, where shit gets critical. And shout out to them, man. They just had two dope interviews back to back. One was with Keats. If you're not familiar with Keats is, please be sure that you look him up. And there was another one as well. I can't think of it at the top of my head, but we'll get to that. Shout out to Huey TC Podcast, Geek Set Podcast, Anime Junkies, Three Weebs in a Podcast, and of course the Black Anime Podcast Network, where you can find all of the anime podcasts listed in that directory. For Black content creators, of course, shout out to Black Anime with Aaron, HBCU Anime with Evan, Sundari with Ari, aka Erica, Cerberus Entertainment, Tatted Poodle, The Geechee Gamer, Icarus Metro Comics with my boy Calvin, Studio Maho with Pat and Yin, Soul, aka Humble Southern Soul Brother, Hubtaku, Shelby, aka Simply Janine with Roads Less Traveled. Goodness gracious, excuse me, Shelby. Black Lotus Dragon with Strange Keith, and of course, Toasty Marshmallow. For our Black artists, definitely shout out to our very own NASA over here. Scoozy, shout out to Jack Union, Phil.me, Ellis Quinn, RJ Stackhouse, Quarter, Tyrone Leak Jr., our girl Ari Lachelle, Zach Hines, Elena, and of course, Miss Zainab. And for our Black business shout outs, of course, already paid by Dre, FNRM or Fresh Nerds Righteous Minds by Timo, KSS Brand by Christina, Cream Cosmetics by Naima, Mind Over Money by Tremaine, Studio Maho again with Pat and Yin, Daphne Benford Smith with Studio Maho and Benford Smith Law Firm. Concept Moon, She Designs Too with Aaron. Black Magic and Lit Wands with Low and T. H4 Creative by Zenobia. Real Estate Stone by Meredith. Sold by Belmont Mariah. And of course, Coasters Bar and Grill here at Buckrow Beach in Hampton. And with that, let's go ahead and sign off, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Chaotic Culture Podcast on your favorite DSP. Be sure, once again, you subscribe to that Patreon for early access to the podcast, for video access to the podcast, and bonus episodes. You can subscribe at any of the 4 levels listed. It does not matter. We still appreciate your patronage. You can, of course, donate $3, $5, $7, or $10. It does not matter. Just go to patreon.com/Chaotic Culture Pod for exclusive bonus content. You can follow our Facebook page at Chaotic Culture Podcast. You can also follow us on IG at Chaotic Culture Pod and follow us on Twitter at Chaotic_Culture. You can follow me, Ked the Pro, that's K3D the Pro, on all social media. You can follow Ms. Nasa at _call me Nasa on all social media. You can follow Law on IG at L.JR_96 and Twitter at Law96_. You can follow Ms. Sappy on all social media at Scraps14. And of course, shout out to the boy Johnny, who's not here currently, but you can follow him on all social media at Lee Trey, including TikTok. And you can also follow him on streaming at twitch.tv/JLeeTrey1. This has been another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Until next time, folks, remember, embrace the culture, chaos rules. Be blessed, be safe, God is love. Deuces.
Peace.
One.
Look, it's chaos in these streets, so let's talk about it, please. Let's hold some conversation. You see where I'm coming from. Yes, it's so amazing. Go ahead, get comfortable. You can grab a seat, take a load off your feet. Yeah, welcome to the table. We don't tell no lies over here. This ain't no fable. We just live our lives over here. We ain't no angels. We just shine our light over here. We got the power. We just showing love over here. Cause everybody needs some, yeah. And we don't need a reason. Everybody needs some. And we don't need a reason, cause